Hey guys, this is Stephanie, a Lost for Words VSG. I'm coming just with a really quick update. It's not a weekly weight update. This is actually a my support group meeting. I had a support group last night, and I just picked up some really interesting things, and I wanted to share a few things that we had talked about at my support group last night. I do go to a WLS support group once a month that was formulated through the weight loss center that I went through to have my VSG done, basically, is a nice way to say it, I guess. My hair is kind of wild today. So I just want to share a few things from the meeting. It was kind of an open, the topic was emotional eating, but they kind of made it an open forum last night where people could just kind of share what they wanted to share, and also share thoughts about different things related to the topic. They had different, like, just different sidebars related to the topic. And so anyways, I wrote some notes down because there were some really good points they made, some things that really made sense to me, and I think is going to change the way I eat starting today compared to the last few weeks. One thing that one of the gals said in the meeting, she is a status post bypass patient. I think a little over a year ago, she's lost like 110 pounds. She said, you know, we will always be bariatric patients for the rest of our life. We will always be bariatric patients. And she was saying, you know, I eat normally. I eat what I feel like is a normal person, you know, diet. She doesn't put a lot of restrictions on herself. But she said, but the truth is, I will always be a bariatric patient. And I thought about that a lot. I thought that was really neat. And I thought about, too, you know, I've been trying the last few weeks. I recognize this. I've been thinking about myself not as a bariatric patient. I've been thinking about myself as somebody who is just trying to lose weight and who's watching what she eats. And I thought, you know, I think I need, in order for myself to feed my sleeve better, I need to think of myself as a bariatric patient and put the right things in my sleeve. The nutritionist was there, and one of the things that I had asked her was, you know, they really preached, my doctor really preached no flour, no sugar, no flour, no, I think I already said that, no bread, no pasta, no rice, no crackers, you know, no, you know, those big carbs, don't do carbs. And so for the first, even probably 4 to 5 weeks, I was pretty good with that. But I noticed the last couple of weeks I've been letting myself kind of be a little bit freer with that. And just some examples, we went to a Mexican restaurant, and we had queso, and I had one chip, and I tore that chip into little bitty pieces and dipped it in the queso. Sorry about that. So I dipped it in the queso, and I was satisfied. I felt like I got to have the queso, and I didn't feel bad at myself for eating that one chip. But when I relayed that last night to the group, one of the girls in the group said, but one chip leads to a whole bunch of chips, leads to a whole bag. And, you know, I thought, oh, well, I could never eat a whole bag. But then I thought about what she said, and I thought, you know, she's probably right, because right now I thought, oh, I'm doing great. I've ate one chip. But maybe a few months down the road, I'll eat 5 chips. And then what if, you know, a year down the road, I don't even think about it, and I put, you know, 12 or 14 chips on my plate. I could see what she was saying about the progression. It was something that just clicked in my head. And then I went to Red Lobster. I told you all that. I had went to Red Lobster on Friday, and I had half of a cheddar biscuit. And then we went to the Italian restaurant on Sunday, and we had I had some of their bread dipped in the olive oil parmesan. Well, last night before the meeting, I had met a friend and we went to Texas Roadhouse, which is a local steakhouse. And I had probably about a third of one of their rolls with cinnamon butter. So I was telling the nutritionist in front of the whole group, and I said, I want to know, am I sabotaging myself? Because I'm telling myself, well, this is moderation. I'm having this, I'm having a little bit, I'm not feeling deprived, I'm feeling like I can handle this, and this is an acceptable way of life for me, at least in my 7-week newborn mind. That's what I think, because, I'm 7 weeks reborn here as far as VSG. And her first question to me was it worth it? And I thought, well, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, I enjoyed it, if that's what you mean. I said, mentally, I enjoyed it. And she said, you have to look at eating things like that are outside of your bariatric diet. You have to think of that on a weekly level, not on a daily level. So, if I line that up, Friday I had a half a biscuit, Sunday I had a piece of bread, and then Thursday I had, a third of a roll. Well, each day those didn't seem like a lot, but if you put all that together, then in a week's time I had a pretty good sized chunk of bread, dipped in either butter or olive oil. And so when I looked at it in that respect, and that's what she was saying, was you have to look at what you're eating, not on a daily basis, because when you look at those small, tiny things and those tiny bites and you say, well, it's okay, I'm just having a small bite of this today. She said you look on it on a grander scale, like on a weekly scale, and then you can look back and see. And I thought, okay, well, I would not have ever sat down post-sleeve and felt comfortable eating a good sized chunk of bread dipped in oil and butter. No, I wouldn't have done that. But see, in my mind, I thought it was okay because I had little portions spread out over several days. So that was where she was coming, was it worth it to you when you look back and you realize this is what I've ate conglomerately? Was it worth it? And then when I look at that, I think no. I mean, I probably put a total of 400 calories guesstimation of worthless carbohydrates into my body because I thought it tasted good. So when you look on it on that level, that's really going to make me rethink what I'm doing eating wise and what I'm putting into my sleeve. I think it's really going to make me think about. It's also making me rethink about eating out, because we do eat out a lot, and that was one of the things that the nutritionist mentioned was, about the choices that you make when you're eating out. We talked about how difficult it was when the person next to you is eating a hot fudge sundae, and just putting yourself in position. And the girl that had lost 180 pounds, she actually started crying. She was 360 pounds. She's lost 180. She's post-bypass. And she started crying last night. And she said, when I look in the mirror, I still see that 360-pound girl. And she said that she was at this was interesting. Her boyfriend is a recovering alcoholic. And she said that two things that she mentioned. One was that he had come home and had a package of Oreos on the table. And she picked the Oreos up and she put them in the cabinet. And he said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm putting the Oreos in the cabinet. And he was like, why? And she said, I would not come home and set a 6-pack in front of you on the table. Don't come home and put a package of Oreos in front of me. And I was like, wow. Yeah. And she said that she was at a group table and she was on the inside of the booth, and they had ordered a huge hot fudge sundae, brownie sundae, and they had 6 spoons in it, and she wasn't eating it. And she couldn't get out of the booth unless she just made somebody move. And she said she took a picture of it and she texted her boyfriend, and she said, just kill me now. And she said that he said to her, oh my gosh, that's like somebody sticking me at a bar and everybody doing shots around me and I can't leave. And she said, exactly. She texted him back and said, exactly. So, you know, that was an interesting, you know, she said she totally feels the food parallel on the addiction level. She feels like it parallels even with his addiction. It's very interesting. One of the things that somebody said was eating carbs makes you want more carbs. I think I've heard that somewhere before, but it was just a good reminder. I'm looking at my notes if you wonder why I'm looking down. One of the girls that is at Goal says, and I mentioned her a while ago, she eats normally, no problems. The girl that's lost 180 pounds said she has never, since she's lost her weight, has never had any sugar in the form of dessert cross her lips in over a year and a half. She said, I can't. I know that I can't go there. She considers herself a recovering food addict, and she said, I just can't. Interestingly enough, there was a girl whose surgery, that hers was the week after mine. She's lost 44 pounds. I've lost 28. And so I forgot that her surgery was after mine. And I was talking to her after the meeting, and I said, so how are you feeling? You know, I know you had surgery around the same time as mine. She said, actually, I had mine the week after yours. She said, I've lost 44 pounds. And I said, what? That's crazy. And we had different doctors, same center, but different doctors. But it was interesting. She said, my doctor was very, very strict on the full liquids, clear liquids, soft food, you know, that whole progression that, you know, the paper that they send home with you at the hospital that my doctor does not follow. She said her doctor, she said her doctor was very, very strict on that. And the difference is 16 more pounds in a week less than what I have. So I'm not, you know, I'm okay with the fact that my doctor progressed me. And yes, I realized I could have said, no, that's okay. I'll just stick with the clear liquid. But no, I mean, if you're telling me I can eat, I'm going to eat. But it was interesting, the weight loss difference there. So I think Sheehan, VSG, I think her weight loss, she's a couple weeks ahead of me, and I'm calling her out on the spot, but I think her weight loss is quite a bit more than mine too. And again, her doctor wanted her to go with the liquid, you know, follow the progression phase more than mine did. So it might have shot myself in the foot there, but I guess I'll catch up. Oops, hang on, guys. Okay, guys, sorry. I totally lost my train of thought. Phone rang, and I can't even remember where I was at. But I'm going to wrap it up because I'm at 13 minutes. I hate these long videos. I wish I could make shorter videos. But anyways, they talked about emotional eating, finding different ways of coping with stress. They talked about finding better substitutes, like the gal who doesn't eat any kind of sugar. She said she finds different ways to treat herself. And like she uses multi-grain chips with salsa. And she said for her that's a treat. So they were talking about just finding different ways. They talked about, oh, interestingly, bad breath. They were asking, one of the girls was asking, has anybody else noticed bad breath? I have not encountered that issue. At least no one's told me that I have. But I did hear, I think I heard Less of Me, Sarah, VSG. I think she talked about halitosis being an issue. Thankfully, so far, I haven't had to deal with that. But the bypass patient said she had that really bad. They also talked about loss of hair. I know Alan, in his recent video, he mentioned about the loss of hair. The bypass patient said she said actually in the shower she would look down and it looked like somebody's toupee was laying in the shower floor, which I thought was kind of funny. But I'm wondering if this is more of a gastric complication than a VSG complication. I don't know. But it was a very informative meeting, and I just wanted to pass it on, and not just to share with anybody else that's watching, but also, to remind myself. So I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll catch you later. Thanks.